Good afternoon and welcome back to the program, Neuropathy Action Foundation program. We are going to start off this afternoon's program hearing from the president and founder of the NAF, Dominic SPATAFORA. And again, I'm not going to be reading all the bios for the afternoon since they're all in your program, but just wanted to highlight Dominic's got such an impressive background. He, as you heard, founded the organization 10 years ago and has done tremendous work since then with patient advocacy and working to raise awareness of the disease. Dominic he has a Master of Public Administration, and he has worked in politics and in healthcare reform. He's worked for a U.S. congressperson. He's worked for the Arizona Medical Board. So he's got a tremendous background in healthcare, education, and advocacy, and this has served him very, very well in his current role as a volunteer, as founder and president of the NAF. Dominic's full-time job, actually more than full-time job, is with Pfizer. So I don't want to take up any more time doing the introductions, but I'd like to welcome Dominic up here. We're actually going to start off with the video, and then he's going to come up and say a few words.
Neuropathy is a disease that affects more than 20 million people in the U.S. alone. It causes numbness, pain, and even paralysis.
The way it started was a pretty serious tremor in my right hand. So I was misdiagnosed twice. First with Lou Gehrig's disease, and I was told that I had 3 to 5 years to live. Being 31 years old at the time, owning my own business, and relying on a BlackBerry, it was absolutely devastating.
It took more than a year, but ultimately, Dominic was correctly diagnosed with multifocal motor neuropathy, or MMN. But the struggle he would have with his insurance company for the IVIG treatment he needed was a battle that inspired him to do much more.
Knowing how to work the system and still struggling to the degree that I did, I thought for a second, what do senior citizens do? The vast majority of neuropathy patients are senior citizens in excruciating pain.
In 2006, seizing on his personal experience and knowledge, Dominic founded the Neuropathy Action Foundation, a nonprofit determined to advocate, educate, and empower. Starting by advocating for patient access to IVIG and other medications, the foundation utilized traditional and social media to increase awareness and quickly expanded to include press conferences and addressing legislative hearings.
The federal government has made a policy decision to deny access to this life-saving medication, to interfere in that relationship, and now you have health insurers that are hiding behind the government's decision.
The first step in fixing this is to change the Medicare formula to reimburse this properly. IVIG is an absolute miracle drug.
Well, and identify yourself with the committee.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Dominic SPATAFORA, and I'm here today as the president of the Neuropathy Action Foundation and as a patient.
A reported 507 patients have since been helped with issues in obtaining IVIG as well as other medications. The Foundation's comprehensive website provides neuropathy resources and tools to patients and their caregivers all around the world. The creation of the Patient Voice, a bi-monthly e-newsletter, keeps patients and caregivers up to date with important issues related to neuropathy. Since 2007, the Neuropathy Action Foundation has held an annual Neuropathy Action Awareness Day, the largest neuropathy educational event held in the U.S.
Raise your hand if you learned something today that you didn't know yesterday.
While thousands have attended in person, thousands more around the world watch the event on the NAF website. NAF's workings and accomplishments have been featured in numerous health and medical publications, but also on local network news broadcasts, such as ABC 7 News, NBC, and CNN, all bringing increased awareness to neuropathy. Expanding its outreach, the Neuropathy Action Foundation recruited actor-director Jerry Mathers, who has suffered with diabetic peripheral neuropathy and is an NAF supporter, to do a public service television video.
You do, me, Jerry Mathers, from the television show Leave It to Beaver. I've been diagnosed with the disease, diabetic peripheral neuropathy, or DPN. DPN is damage to the nerve tissue of the peripheral nervous system. 60 to 70% of people with diabetes have some form of neuropathy. The most common form affects the hands and feet and can cause pain, burning sensation, and in severe cases, total loss of feeling. People with DPN need to take special care of their feet. More than half of the lower limb amputations occur in people with diabetes. Be proactive, monitor your blood glucose levels, follow medication therapies, and maintain proper foot health with your podiatrist. It worked for me.
The PSA has so far aired in 39 cities in 23 states.
Scene 1, take 1.
Having achieved significant awareness from the DPN PSA video, NAF decided to produce another PSA, this time on the little-known condition, multifocal motor neuropathy.
They said I would die.
My doctor told me I had ALS.
They said I wouldn't live to see my kids grow up.
But their doctors were wrong. Multifocal motor neuropathy, referred to as MMN, is a rare disorder that progressively weakens muscles in the extremities and is often mistaken for other serious neuropathies, as well as the ultimately fatal condition known as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. But unlike those disorders, MMN affects only lower motor nerves and has no sensory involvement. Symptoms tend to be asymmetric and characterized by weakness, cramping, twitching, or muscle atrophy, usually beginning in the hands. Disease progression depends on the length of time the patient remains without the correct MMN diagnosis. With early diagnosis and treatment, most MMN patients continue doing the things they enjoy.
Cooking.
Gardening.
Spending time with my family.
The PSA has aired in 31 states, 73 cities, and has had more than 75,000 views on YouTube.
What Dominic's doing is kind of unique because he's kind of bringing the idea of patient support and political action together into one category, and I think that's a very powerful combination, and it's going to be very useful for this disease in the long run.
The best way to predict the future is by creating it.
Takes a couple seconds here. 1, 2, there you go. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon in person. Also, a special shout out to the 1,000 plus patients that are watching from around the world this morning. 3 special shout outs. One to Danielle LaFlash, who is the leader of the Western Neuropathy Association's Redwood City and San Jose Neuropathy Support Group, who's having a viewing party up in Northern California. 2 other viewing parties that we know of are Massimo Giordano in Rome, Italy. Ciao, Massimo. And Shirley Baker in Barrington, Illinois. You know, 1,000 viewers is amazing to me. When I started this foundation 10 years ago, I will never forget our very first event. Our first annual Neuropathy Action Foundation event was in San Francisco. And we had no money, and we were paying as we went along, just praying that we'd have about 50 people, 40, 50, 60 people show up. We actually had 120 during the day and 150 for the dinner. Crazy event. We actually bussed in, and Bev Anderson will remember this, we bussed in 40 or 50 patients from Sacramento, and the bus broke down right before the Bay Bridge. Never forget that day. We didn't think any patients were going to show up, but then they all came in buses. Our celebrity entertainer that evening was a Golden Globe nominated artist who sang a song from a 1993 film, and he showed up, and some of you will remember this, he was pretty drunk. Not only was he drunk, but there was a really sweet woman sitting in the front row in a scooter, and she was obviously, she couldn't walk very well, she was in a scooter, And he looked right at her and he said, sometimes you got to get up and dance. And he looked at this woman. I was just like, oh, when will this night be over? But 10 years later, we're still here and we're stronger than ever. And I attribute that to the fact that we've kept things simple. We haven't strayed. We haven't tried to do things that we're incapable of. We focused on, and still focus on, 3 basic principles: neuropathy awareness, patient and provider education, and most important for us, patient advocacy and patient empowerment. NAF is 100% here for patients, run by patients, doing things for patients. You know, the most important thing, in my opinion, of what we do is we're here as a patient's primary first source of contact after an initial diagnosis with any type of a neuropathy. You know, talking from experience, I remember firsthand the emotions that you go through when you're being initially diagnosed with a word that you can't even pronounce. It's a scary word, neuropathy. How do you even say that? What is it? People are afraid. They're afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of disease progression. Now that I have this, how fast is it going to progress? Is it going to progress? They're afraid of having to use wheelchairs or walkers or things like that. It's scary. You think about those things. You're embarrassed at times for certain things that you have to go through. You're unable to get a good grip on a hand shape. Simple things that are not even, most people don't even think about, but when you have a condition like this, you worry about these little things. Dropping silverware, tripping or falling in public, tremors or twitching, and these are such minor things in the big scheme of things. You're going to hear from a speaker in about 15, 20 minutes that is just mind-blowing to me and has surpassed anything that I have ever done, and I hope you give him your undivided attention, because when I heard him for the first time, he brought me to tears. I'm really looking forward to this. So I don't mean to minimize what other people have went through, but you can only experience what you're going through at that time, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. There's also a great deal of frustration and anger when you're diagnosed with a new disease. The first question you ask is, why me? Why is this happening to me? You start having a hard time doing simple things, which really bothers people. You can no longer put in your own contact lenses. You have a hard time buttoning your buttons on your shirt, computers and typing, things like that. For me, I'm one of the lucky ones because there's a medication out there called IVIG, which, as you heard me say in the video, is an absolute miracle gold or liquid gold. And for people with MMN like myself, the key is being accurately and quickly diagnosed, because if you are, you can lead a productive life and nobody will even know that you have a condition. However, it's not easy. You still, and this is the one thing that I hear from IVIG patients about all the time is, it's for the rest of your life. So every 2 weeks or every month and a half for the rest of your life, you have to go to an infusion center. You have to get stuck with a needle. You have to sit there for hours. You have to work your schedule around your infusion. So there are a lot of things that patients deal with when they're on IVIG. Since day one, we've been focused on patient access to IVIG as well as all medications across the board. And we've worked on many, many issues: prior authorization, step therapy, therapeutic switching, specialty tiers, co-insurance, discrimination issues, et cetera, et cetera. And as I look around the room, I just noticed a good friend who was the pioneer in advocating for specialty tiers. We have a former state senator here from Nebraska, Abby Cornett, somewhere in the audience. I just saw her in the hallway. And I just had to give a shout out to her because a lot of the advocacy work that she did in Nebraska back when she was a senator gave us the courage to continue on and to fight more for patients. We worked really well with her. Oh, there she is. And thank you, Abby, for all of your work back when you were a senator. You truly were a pioneer in helping bring some issues to attention for patients in our community. Another simple belief that we've had since day one, and we still have it, it's on our homepage of our website, is a simple quote from Margaret Mead. And I say this every year, and I'm going to continue to say it, but it's never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And I want to just mention some people right now that are definitely changing the world in the neuropathy community just by helping us and by supporting us and patients. First and foremost, exhibitors and sponsors. Thank you so much for your support. A lot of the exhibitors and sponsors that are here today, they've been with us for all 10 years and can never thank you enough for the support and the trust that you put in the Neuropathy Action Foundation. Thank you to all of you. Two special shout outs where folks went above and beyond. Special thank you to New Factor for sponsoring the tote bags, the patient tote bags, as well as BioScript for sponsoring the afternoon refreshments and exhibit break, which you'll have from 2:30 to 3. Thank you to the NAF Board of Directors. The trust and the friendship on this board has been amazing over the years. The dedication and the hard work that they've put into this organization has been absolutely amazing. I have to give a special shout out to a previous board member who was, she's basically, she's a former board member and she's my mentor. And she taught me everything that I knew at a really young age. She took a shot on me at giving me my first job out of graduate school, and I will always be appreciative to her for that. I was a somewhat, well, I was young, but I was also a somewhat confident, cocky guy at the time, and she put up with that, and she stuck with me over the years. And this is Claudia Fouts, and she's my toughest nails mentor and former boss. She really did teach me everything I know about nonprofits, advocacy, and policy, and most importantly, how to get free beer at restaurants. That's to you, Claudia, watching from Texas. NAF volunteers, thank you so much. Chris DeSantis and his team, Rebecca, Sarah, Julie, Kathleen Creason for being our MC today. Thank you all so much for all the work that you did, pulling this all together and helping us out today. Also, several folks today that are here today have really had a profound impact on me and are my heroes. Many of them have received the NAF Hero Award in the past, and I've learned so much from a few people that are here today. There's 4 of them. One of them is Liz Helms. Liz Helms is a pioneer of patient advocacy in California and quite frankly across the country. She's the founder of the California Chronic Care Coalition, and her name has become synonymous with coalition building, grassroots, and advocacy. This is a person who was almost single-handedly responsible for Covered California last year, becoming the first state exchange in the nation to put out-of-pocket caps for the price of drugs for patients. Amazing work. She's also led a charge nationally to fix a correction under the ACA or Obamacare. Although Obamacare is phenomenal and did so much for so many, one thing that was neglected was there were no anti-discrimination clauses protecting patients, allowing them to have better access to medications. And Liz has made this into a national phenomenon that is now legislation is being passed across the country, and just amazing. She's the one person that I can email at 2 in the morning and know that I'm going to get an instant response from. And, you know, she has a saying in a book that she just came out with, and she says, one either plays the deck they are handed or folds. And I got to tell you, Liz is all in, and she's definitely playing. Jerry Mathers, or as most of us know him and love him as, the Beaver from Leave It to Beaver. In the 1990s, Jerry was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and shortly thereafter DPN. He took preventative action, lost 55 pounds, and is currently one of the leading lecturers on living with and dealing with diabetes and neuropathy. You know, I've known Jerry for several years now, and he is one of the most amazing guys. He's a great partner of the NAF, as you just saw in the video, and he's contributed countless hours to helping us, and he's never asked for a dime in return. The humility and the authenticity of this man is absolutely unbelievable. And I also have to say thank you to his wife, Teresa, who's sitting right next to him, because I'm sure she's been a big help along the way, and I'm guessing does most of his emails and Twitter stuff, and just knowing what I know. But thanks, Teresa, to you as well. Jerry's an absolute class act in every way. Thank you, Jerry, for all the help you've given us over the years. Couple more people. Velda DeCosentine. This lady is truly one of my favorite people that I've ever met. She's outgoing and selfless, always willing to help others. She was president of the Los Angeles Neuropathy Support Group for many, many years, and she had leadership roles before she was president. Her energy and enthusiasm is absolutely contagious, and she reminds me of the Energizer Bunny. And the one thing that I thank Velda for more than anything else was for giving me the courage and the Neuropathy Action Foundation the courage to host our first event in Los Angeles. We were very content doing it up in San Francisco and Sacramento, and she encouraged us to bring it down here. So thank you so much, Velda, for that encouragement. It's been great. Two more. Bev Anderson. Bev Anderson never ceases to amaze me. She started her first neuropathy group with her friend Grant in 1998, and the group has met nearly every month since then. One by one, groups kept on popping up, and now the Western Neuropathy Association, which Bev was a co-founder of and is the current president of, has over 40-plus support groups, thanks in a large part to Bev's tenacity, hard work, and determination. Bev dedicates everything she has to helping those who suffer from neuropathy and is honestly the most knowledgeable patient that I know on the topic of neuropathy. So thanks, Bev, for all your education over the years and your support as well. Last is Barbie Engel. Barbie Engel never ceases to amaze me either. Her social media following is amazing. This woman has like 40-some thousand followers for her organization. She's a pain patient herself, and she found the energy to found the Power of Pain Foundation, which is now the International Pain Foundation. Because of her social media following, she recently starred on a reality TV show, and she just got, evidently, asked to be on another reality TV show that's kind of top secret, but we're looking forward to seeing her again. She's a best-selling author, pain educator, pain patient, and she's an absolute inspiration. Even though she's famous now, she'll always be my friend who suffers from tremendous pain herself, but always puts others who suffer before herself. And I just found out this morning that, actually not this morning, but I just found out recently she has an amazing project coming up called the Music Moves Awareness Project, which is going to premiere September 1st. And it's going to feature an empowering song and music video featuring a Grammy-winning talent. So Barbie, good luck, and can't wait to see it. In conclusion, and I never use that, but I know we want to move on, so I'm going to say it so you know I'm done. In conclusion, people always ask what they can do to help the NAF. It's simple. Talk about neuropathy. Educate others about neuropathy. Spread the word. Public awareness is the best thing any of you can do to help us and the Neuropathy Action Foundation. Direct patients to our website. Tell them about us. If you're a patient, send us your story. Tell us your story. Let us know what you're dealing with. Let us hear from you. If you're having access to your medications and treatments, let us know. There's a good possibility we may be able to help you, or in some cases we may not, but we definitely want to try. Donate plasma. For those of us on IVIG, we rely on people to donate plasma, which is then in turn made into IVIG, which keeps us leading a healthy, productive life. And last, we're not a membership organization, so we don't ask patients for money. We don't do crazy solicitations. We do one solicitation a year during the holidays, and that's it. So if you're with an organization, a corporation, we're always willing to partner. We're always willing to do creative things in the patient community. Just let us know. But definitely help us raise funds. And most importantly, bid on the silent auction items in the back of the room. There are some great prizes, and I'm going to keep on bidding, and I really don't want any of them. So get the prices up so I don't walk away with any of them. I need my money.